All right, what's going on, guys? We are on our mission brief and system overview step 1 of 10. So all of these steps, you're going to have a video that'll go through and walk you through that step. On the right-hand side, you'll have the mission objectives for that step, a checklist of things that we're going to kind of talk through, and then why it matters, what success looks like, your reward of 100 XP points, which you can see over here once you go through the 10 steps up to 1,000 points. And then you'll have orders of kind of what the next steps or expectations are from this step on to the next. And some of the steps below that will have an AI transcript. We have a search function up here where you can type things like phone system, follow-up, whatever. And once you type it and click find after you've unlocked all these steps, it will find exactly which steps have those keywords. It'll pop up a screen and let you know where that's at. So as an example, I'll do follow-up and it says step 8 has that. If we click that, it tells us exactly where it is. It highlights it. We can scroll through and see that. Now, obviously, you need to unlock the other steps to get there, but just know that that system and functionality is available. At any point in time, you can submit a support ticket up here by clicking this button if you have questions. And so now we're going to jump into the actual system itself and do an overview of some of the high-level items of the system. There are more in-depth stuff down here, but when you're getting into the nitty-gritty details and maybe setting up automations, things like that, that's where we're going to do the training in the courses that was outlined and talked about in step 0 here. If you have how-to questions, jump into the communities and we'll talk there. Otherwise, we have the weekly Q&A calls on Zoom. And last but not least, the support ticket system. So without further ado, let's jump into the system itself. So you'll notice up here, you have the dashboard. So if we go to the dashboard, this is what'll load initially. We talk through in depth what the triggers or filters are to make stuff show up here. But you've got contacts, appointments, offers, and closed deals. Now, whether you're doing real estate or doing custom detailing of vehicles, home services, across the board, you're going to have contacts, you're going to have potentially appointments to go out and do that product or service, and then you're going to make an offer. And last but not least, you'll have ones that close and bring in revenue. So this is all tracking that right there. Any tasks that you put out for yourself or your team, you'll be able to see here real quickly. Calls that are happening by person or teammate, last 7 days, what's the average talk time, things of that nature are all going to show up on the dashboard. How many appointments have happened, how many are coming up, what the breakdown is quarterly. So you can kind of start to see your KPIs and things like that very quickly. You do have the capabilities of having more than one dashboard, and you can control who sees what dashboards from there. Conversations tab, this is where calls, text, emails, everything comes in. If you're assigned to a contact, it would show up in your inbox. If somebody else on your team is assigned to the contact, it would show up on a team inbox. You'll see unreads and you'll see all of them. You'll be able to see the recents and or favorite or star them. It looks something like this. And so you'll be able to see the full line of communication that you've had with them. And from there, you can reply either in the conversation tab or open the contact and reply there. Across the top, you'll have the manual action, which is actually the dialer. So you can add contacts to a single line dialer and have 10 or 15 to where each time you complete a call, put in your notes, it'll go to the next person on your dialer. Makes it a whole lot faster to get through maybe like your follow-up list, things of that nature. We do have more videos on that. Snippets is going to be your saved text messages, emails, things of that nature, where you've written up a template. You can actually use variable data to put in like their name, address, things like that. But it makes it to where you can select those when you're writing a text or email in a contact. There's a little menu item where you can pick a snippet and go ahead and make any edits you're going to do and send it out. Trigger links, this is where you can use like a URL inside of an email or a text. If they click on the trigger link, you can make it do things with automations and or get notified that they clicked your trigger link. Settings is going to be like the SLAs. So if you set up the SLAs for a certain channel, like an email, a phone call, a text message, and you're giving them maybe 5 minutes, 30 minutes to respond, You can make that as the goal time, and then if it gets, to 10 minutes or maybe an hour, it automatically turns red, and you're able to see that they've gone past their ideal time to respond. All right, so let's go over to calendars. So in calendars, this is where you're going to have your connected Google Calendar. You can see your users, and from there, if you've connected your calendars and or set up a scheduling calendar, which we have a video on in this 10-step program, you'd be able to see anything that's coming up and your appointments. At any point in time, you can go up and click on this appointment list view and see the appointments that have scheduled and that are coming up. If you wanted to look at your scheduling calendars, you can click this calendar settings and set up different scheduling calendars. As examples, we have things like 15-minute phone call discovery calls. That's one scheduling calendar. 30-minute demo videos. If you were doing, real estate, 60-minute in-person or Zoom calls. If you're doing car detailing, you might do, an hour or 2 hour car detail and whatever that looks like. Um, if you're doing home services, doing an on-site, those could be different scheduling calendars or different services that you offer. And that's all here. That's built in. Again, depending on if you have Recruit, Recon, or Elite, some of the stuff you have access to, some of it you may not. So that just look at the Patriot Business Systems website down at the very bottom. We list out what you get with each plan, and so you'll know if you have access to that or not. This is similar to like a Acuity calendar if you've used that. Some people have tried to use Google Calendar, but this makes it to where you have a scheduling calendar where you or the client can go on and have a URL to schedule an appointment that works best for them. All right, down to contacts. So this is where you're going to spend most of your time making contact and reaching out to any of the contacts that you have. And so I'm going to show here if we have contacts in here. This is going to be anything from home sellers, cash buyers, realtors, attorneys. If you're doing auto detailing, it would be your clients for auto detailing. Home services would be your clients for that. This is where you're going to put their contact information if you want to be able to call, text, email. And then we have our smart lists, which again, we go in further detail of how to run a sales process based off of these smart lists and pushing them through the different stages. Inside the contact card, if you go into it, you're going to have your contact's information, name, email, phone number. Next action is going to be your sales pipeline or stages as you put them through the sales process. And then down below, you're going to have things down here, such as your outbound attempt when you're calling them. You're going to have things like what was the actual outcome? Is it a good number? And then you can kind of see prospect or lead. We do have a motivation level, hot, warm, cold. And then if you want to set a date of when you plan on reaching back out to them, we do have some saved views that based on this and based on today being the date that you said you would reach out, it would show up in those views. So there's that for our real estate people. In the address section, once you put an address, there is Zillow, Homes.com, Trulia, Redfin, Realtor.com, and Google Maps. If you use the copy feature, you can input the address really fast into some of these services that don't automatically load the property. It makes it really simple and fast to do that. And then you've got some areas for the property address and property information if you're doing real estate. Offer details. So this coincides with the dashboard for offer date. You have your offer amounts and things of that nature. And then contract, closing times, closing dates, what you're buying it for, selling it for, and dependent on which platform you're buying with us, whether you're real estate, home services, or car detailer, some of this might be different. If you do a website with us, we have website templates that we offer. The website form being filled out would automatically come in here. You'd see the information on step 1, step 2 automatically. If you have any questions on that, you can reach out. Any emails, texts, phone calls, recordings, voicemails, you'd see here in the middle. And then on the right over here, you have the ability to create tasks. You can set notes. You can schedule appointments. You can attach documents. You have the ability to send estimates and contracts as well, and you can attach PDFs, JPEGs, things of that nature automatically. Right here, you can kind of see that that's an option so you can see it. If they've made any payments and you use the system to send a payment for an estimate or a contract or an invoice, all those payments will show up here. So if we go down to opportunities, most of our clients would use the pipeline for sales. And I would say the majority are going to run the sales process all the way to the point of getting the offer accepted or under contract. And then once it is offer accepted or under contract, they would create an opportunity. You can do that directly inside the contact. There was more training on that, but once you have an opportunity created and in here, if you put in the opportunity's value and the fact of what stage or pipeline it is in, once you win the deal or close the deal and you mark it as won, it'll show on your dashboard as revenue. So those are some things to keep in mind. As you're getting phone calls, text, emails, we've got this inbound comm log. So you're able to see very quickly any communications that have come inward from your different clients, assuming you're using our phone system and or you've connected your email platform. All that inbound communication shows up here. You can actually search by a client or by a contact name. You can search by their phone number. You can search by just emails, just text, different ways to search in here, but this is an easy way for you to see the inbound communication. We do go through this in further videos as well. Payments, this is really typically used by our real estate people for documents. So a seller, buyer, having a templated contract that you can send and have them sign and have you sign comes back and attaches. And at that point, you have, almost a DocuSign like feature, dot loop feature built into the system. First contract is free. After that, we charge for a setup, but then you can use it as much as you want. Home services and our car detailers, a lot of times they're using the invoice and estimates feature. They're able to send over invoices or estimates for certain services that they're offering. And then from that, you can decide if you need to send a contract or not. But oftentimes, the invoice or estimate is sufficient, and then you can, send payment links or different things like that to take the payment. Most of our clients do not actually use AI agents. If it's something that you're interested in, you want to talk more on, reach out to us. We can chat on what that would look like and getting that set up. Marketing, you have the capabilities of sending out marketing emails. If you're going to send more emails than about 300 to 400 a day, we do have a consultant that we recommend, and he will set up a Mailgun account for you. That's a one-time charge for him to set it up of $600, roughly thereabouts. And then the Mailgun account is typically somewhere around $30 a month. Now, that's simply if you're sending large marketing emails. If you're sending out, holiday type coupon codes or specials, or you're doing a mailing list once a week or a newsletter, those types of things, I would highly recommend that you reach out to him. His information is in another step, but this is how you can track some of those things. And you see in here, there's some different things that you can set up based on that need or that want, and sending emails and tracking them and things of that nature. Automations, most of our clients stay out of here. We give access to some, but most we run it for you. So if you're trying to do automations, you can reach out and ask us if something's possible. We can either do it for you, or we can talk about what it might look to set something up custom for you. But you do have automation set up out of the box, such as your follow-ups for text, email, and direct mail. Set it and forget it, direct mail too is in there as well. If you wind up signing up with the websites and the templates that we offer, you'd see that in here, and you'd be able to view that. As far as the websites and the templates offered right now, it is for the real estate investor side of things. If you're interested on home services or auto detailing, reach out to us and we can discuss. We do have some templates available. And then I would say down below, the next one that most are going to use is reputation management. So this would be connecting things like Google My Business or Facebook reviews, things of that nature. You can request video testimonials as well in this area. And if you set up the Google My Business connection for the review, it'll automatically show up on the website if you set up that code block that they have. And that's something that we do for people if you're interested. You just have to connect your Google Business account first, and then we can talk about taking that code block so that anytime a new review is left, it automatically is showing on your website. Reporting. This is something where Google reports, if you have a Google Ads account set up, you can connect Facebook ads accounts and then call reporting. So inbound, outbound, by phone number, by agent, you can see that stuff. You can get agent reports as well. So you can start to see how agents are performing as far as messages going out, coming in, conversations, any opportunities that are opening. You can see all of that stuff. So if you are trying to track things, check it out. Appointments, how many appointments are being booked, how many are confirmed, how many are being canceled, how many showed, how many no showed, how many rescheduled. All those things are based off of you setting appointments in the contact card. We go over that in one of the other steps, but this is a spot where you can go and actually track that data and see how often appointments are making it all the way through. Mobile app, I'd take a look at this. They have a lead connector app. It's a little square right now. It's a orange cube. If you're looking for it, iPhone, Android, you can download that and view all of your contacts, opportunities. You can send texts, make phone calls, send emails, all of that on the fly. So take a look there. Support ticket system, again, click this. You can send in a support ticket by filling out this form. Our team will reach out via email, via text, and work any tickets that we get from you. The Q&A calls are Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific time, and we jump on Zoom. Shortly here, you'll be able to go into the communities, and the Zoom Live will show up in the community as well and ask your questions there. And then last but not least, down here at the bottom, you have your actual training courses, and we're building that out. So beyond the 10-step platform or LaunchPad that we have right now, this will be more in-depth on each and every setting. If you are trying to look for adding members or looking at phone numbers, email systems, things of that nature, settings is going to be where you're going to look at to make that happen. If you do need help or have any questions around some of these connections and integrations, we do have some videos through the 10-step program. But if you do need help beyond that, feel free to reach out with a support ticket or jump in to the community and ask your questions there, and we'll be sure to answer over there. All right, so with that, we went through kind of how do you find your conversations, pipeline stages we talked about, KPIs and the dashboards we talked about. If you have any questions that we did not answer there, again, at the top right, you can create a support ticket right here. If you need to contact support, step 0 or step 10 have all of the different links to reach out to support. But if not, you can jump over to step 2 at this point and start setting up your account, adding people, setting up your business information, things of that nature on step 2. And we'll see you over there.